so hard. The fists of the pair crossed, and just before they smashed into vital areas, they froze as though time had stopped. Leo's fist stopped the very instant it would have crushed the tip of Lee's nose. Lee's hand had stopped in a hammer fist just before crushing Leo's neck. In other words, it was a draw. They were evenly matched. Well, that was good. Splendidly done. It is a draw. Or rather, it is my loss. With our respective positions, you would have been slightly faster and hit me. True. Your talent is remarkable. I wish we could have put each other to the test when I was a bit younger. Well then, perhaps it is time to shower, and then we can have some tea. Lee laughed refreshingly and left. His underlings were still shooting looks of fear and respect at each other. Both their bosses' keen, unrivaled skills, and for Leo, who was able to fight the other to a draw. Leo, that was incredible. You managed to fight him to a draw. A draw, nothing the sort I lost. Why? Like Lee said, if you'd hit each other at that rate, I'd bet you'd have the advantage in power, right? Yeah, but he was gonna hit his neck. He was gonna fucking snap it. No, that's not it. If this had been a real fight, I'd have been finished just before my fist hit him. What do you mean? Lee's last attack wasn't meant to hit with a fist. Lee probably fights with concealed weapons. If his hand had been holding a skewer of some kind, my throat would have already been nicely gutted by now. Well, if you had something, it would have been the same. That's Leo for you. To be able to penetrate so far. Excuse me? Lewd? I've heard rumors too. Rumors that he's a master of assassin techniques, and that could kill an opponent with a single needle. He's also a gentleman with a clever brain on top of it all. Lee certainly isn't a man to be taken lightly. You'd have to be someone like that to oversee so many people. No, Rose. Still, both you and Lee went a little too far. How could you fight so seriously, even though it should have just been for a bit of fun? That's what happens when a couple of boys play around. It has been a long time since I had my childhood reawakened, so I found it quite enjoyable. Leo and Lee laughed loudly. Rose put a band-aid on Leo's scraped arm. I love Rose so much. Lee had just received Rose's treatment a moment ago. Though the final fatal blows had stopped a hair before contacting, they had exchanged several fierce hits before that. Of course, they hadn't made it out unwounded. However, the two of them were laughing happily together. No hard feelings. One could hardly call that fierce. Leo went very easy on me. You're the one who took it easy. In a real battle, I would have been killed. If you noticed that, it seems I have dulled considerably. The next time we fight, let's make it cards or mahjong. That would be most agreeable. Lee was not a fighter, but a killer. It was hard for him to show his true potential in a contest that didn't have killing your opponent as its goal. However, it was the same for Leo. He couldn't afford to shame the man who was keeping them hidden. He had just barely held back, not wanting to land a decisive blow. Both of them understood all of this. Surely they had reached an understanding that only a pair of powerful people could reach. At that point, some of Lee's underlings came in and prepared some tea. Come, let us have some tea. Oh, I'll serve it. It smells nice. Pretty fond of the smell of Chinese tea. Chinese tea is the most delicious in the world. For our next challenge, we should have a Chinese-Japanese tea showdown. I'll let China take the win there. Japanese tea has got too many rules just to take a single sip. How interesting the Japanese are, to demand rigid rules even for time spent drinking tea, which ought to be relaxing. The pair who had sweated together peacefully drank their tea. Rose had been anxious when they were fighting, but now she decided that this must be the only one way men interacted with each other. The conversation gradually drifted to the differences between Chinese and Japanese culture. There's a proverb that the Chinese are dragons by themselves, but pigs gather when they gather together. What does that mean? Of course it means the Chinese people excel individually. However, unfortunately, it also means that when those dragons gather together, they decay and become pigs. That's some pretty harsh self-criticism. History tells one a lot about our people. Chinese history is a constant repeat of single heroes toppling tyranny, establishing a dynasty, and degrading into tyranny once more. However, no matter how terrible the government may become, a dragon will always rise from the Chinese people to crush it. He has a fairly valid point there. You're a very resilient people, aren't you? We Chinese are the descendants and offsprings of dragons. There's a dragon sleeping in the blood of every Chinese person. And so, when the world crumbles and the heavens demand a hero, there will always be someone who receives a revelation and rises, becoming a dragon. Have you ever received a revelation like that, Lee? I have not yet. However, the dragon's blood sleeps. I am prepared to become a dragon at any moment, when the time to rise up comes. That is a Chinese person's soul. Rose thought deeply about these words. It felt as though Lee was saying something very important for her. And there is also a proverb about the Japanese. What's that? The Japanese are pigs by themselves, but dragons when they gather together. Oh, did you know that one? So you're saying the Japanese are the opposite of the Chinese? The Japanese people excel when acting as a group. They raise their dragon-like ideals and fulfill their goals with the dragon-like power. However, even dragons lose their way, and they decay. We happened to win the Russo-Japanese War, and got too full of ourselves. Having confidence is a good thing, however you were too enamored with yourselves. You began to conceitedly think of yourselves as the most superior race in Asia, and the curtain rose on the Second Sino-Japanese War. If we really were superior, we wouldn't have lost the war thanks to some natural disaster. Yeah, you would have just gotten nuked into oblivion. The fact we lost probably proves that we were full of it. That your country lost its way is no cause for shame. Even Chinese history is simply filled with corrupt dynasties. That the prosperous must inevitably decay is a simple fact of nature. The problem is that during such times, individual Japanese people are pigs. Were pigs. Pigs. In China, whenever a dynasty is corrupted, a dragon arises from the individuals and rights the world. However, in Japan, the individuals are pigs, so no one tries to correct their country's errors and the whole nation crumbles. That's pretty harsh. When we Chinese ask the Japanese whether or not they feel responsible for the war, the Japanese always answer the same way. We were simply taken advantage of by our country. We are victims too. Is that not strange? The country is merely a collection of Japanese people. And yet it was the country that was at fault, not any of the individuals. And then the Japanese will say this. It is an abnormal time. We had no choice but to obey. While they realized it was an abnormal time, they did nothing to correct it. They lazily obeyed. And so they say it was the country in the wrong, not them. That is what it means to say that the Japanese are pigs on their own. God, for the sake of the justice I believed in. I've never taken any action against the judgment of my conscience. If there's something I do regret, it's only that I couldn't sacrifice myself for that purpose. If you asked me to throw my life away right now in exchange for the justice I believe in, that'd suit me just fine. I'm always prepared for death. Leo. If you can say it so boldly, then perhaps I can still accept your words. You set yourself apart from those foolish Japanese who always place the blame on their country and hide from responsibility. There's only one thing that we Chinese would like to say to the Japanese. What's that? Don't play the victim after choosing to be a pig. It makes us sick. Don't say you had nothing to do with it, because the country was at fault. We would like you to take bold responsibility for the ideals you have announced as a dragon. That is all. Thanks, Lee. Rose hung her head, stunned into silence. Lee's words reverberated through her head over and over. Don't play the victim after choosing to be a pig. When her countrymen were suffering under Caleb's rampage, hadn't she been a pig? And wasn't she herself playing the victim, even after choosing to be a pig? We would like to take bold responsibility for the ideals you have announced as a dragon. I received my position as Primavera's madam, and gained the ability to do as I pleased with a great quantity of money and power. A dragon's power. I announced my dragon's ideal, my desire to revive the community of my countrymen. I still hadn't tried to take responsibility for voicing those views. That Wayne and Claudia were caught is practically my fault. I may have boldly said that I would rescue them no matter what, but I still haven't done anything. How can I be sitting around, letting myself be protected while drinking tea and chatting happily? Those words were heavy. I was Primavera's madam, a dragon, so those words were heavy. That's why all of us those businessmen followed me, and that's why they were harassed by the Caleb family. And yet I, even with my dragon's ideals of protecting them, remained a pig, unable to do anything. Responsibility for ideals. What is responsibility? Should I apologize and slice open my own chest? No, that's stupid. It gets nothing done. No, that can't be all that responsibility means. If anything, that's abdicating responsibility, because you do nothing to fix the wrong. You just get rid of it because you don't want to deal with the fact that you've made a mistake or whatever. Or in this case, like, you don't like taking responsibility as a way of just ending responsibility in that sense, rather than trying to atone and move forward. It's got to mean the duties I ought to accept for voicing those views. When you say I'll do it, you have a duty to see it through. That's what it means to take responsibility for your words. In that case, what duties do I have after saying I want to protect my countrymen? That you had to protect you had to do it for your countrymen. What duties do I have after voicing those ideals? These words echoed through my head over and over. I must become a dragon. A dragon. Yes. Rose the dragon. Rose, do you want some more tea? Huh? Rose stared blankly at Leo. She looked like someone who had fallen asleep without meaning to, and was confused after being suddenly awoken. Sorry, Leo, I guess I was tired. Maybe I'm getting a cold. I felt a bit dizzy. Maybe the strange scent of the incense in this room doesn't quite suit me. Sorry, could I get a refill too? Of course, miss. I want her just to go fucking off. But she's gotta, like, protect the people. Like, that's what she swore to do, so she's gotta, you know, make steps to actually, like, protect them. The actual people, not doing, like, the fucking business contract meme shit. Actually employing those people out probably would be good. But the problem is, like, when they do try that, they just get bought out from other fucking people, and it's really fucking terrible that way, but you could go through that way. Like, hire cooks, I guess. Just like frontline cooks, not waiters because you're a whorehouse. So probably not the best. Janitors and shit. They probably aren't going to be accosted and bought up. You could have them do that. Probably reinvesting in areas. Like loaning out the money in the way like Richard does, but just in a more responsible way. Give like better rates for like Japanese people if they do certain businesses and hire only Japanese people. Shit like that. Wayne regained consciousness, his arm still suspended. That's how, like that's ways like you can really affect change and like really do some good, like for the people around you, without doing like the stupid Caleb shit. Because those will actually affect real lives and it'll start to change things. Because you'll reorient the culture around people opening businesses in that area into hiring Japanese people because they get incentives for it. When you give incentives for doing something, people like doing it because they get free shit. That's how I'd at least want to go around it. The sound of cars and many feet approached. It wasn't just one car, there were probably several of them. Here we go, time to pay the piper. There'd probably be one final interrogation performed by some high-ranking members of the family, possibly Caleb himself. If he still refused to talk, death would probably come next. Perfect. If I'm gonna be killed anyway, might as well tell them a few lies and watch them dance one last time. Rose, being able to die for you isn't a bad life. On that day when I should have died in the streets, Rose was the one who gave me life. Looks like the time's come to return the life I've received to her. It's gonna be like Chinese people, right? Or not. With that sound, the door to the storehouse opened and many men came in. They said they'd kill him, but I mean, you never know. However, something seemed off. None of them showed any interest in Wayne. That moan was coming out of the 2 large bags the men were carrying. We found 2 people. Wayne felt it immediately. There were probably people inside. The men violently threw the 2 bags down, then opened them. There were people inside, after all. They were tied up like caterpillars and even gagged. But who were they? Wayne had no memory of those 2. Judging by their clothes and general appearance, they didn't have any respectable occupation. It looked as though they might be high-ranking members in a family that opposed Caleb. At that moment, the atmosphere suddenly changed, and the crowd of men split to make a path. And at the other end of the path, Caleb appeared. Make it so they can talk. It won't be any fun to hear them beg for their lives or make excuses, will it? I want to question them once, at the end. Miguel took out his knife, walked forward, and cut the gags in the bound men's mouths. This is a misunderstanding, Father. We never planned to betray you. That's a pretty pathetic way to leave this life, don't you think? Some of your young ones started talking long ago. In the same frigid expression, Miguel kicked the man in the gut over and over. Bastard. What left you unsatisfied? Try spilling your guts just once at the end. Giving all the money we collected away to the occupying forces is just stupid. Gathering 100 million and then just handing it over to the Americans don't make me laugh. You might manage to become the Americans' new pet, but what about our share? How hard do you think we worked to gather up that ridiculous 100 million? The city's finished. We've killed all the hens laying the eggs. We're parasites. If you kill the host, we fall with them. I'm aware that we have gone to very extreme lengths. However, if we can just get our hands on the special offer window and controls work orders, we'll be able to make our war buddies' wages improve. Fuck them. What about everyone else? You dumb fuck. You really think the Americans will give that special offers window to Japanese people? An occupying army would never deal with an occupied people like the Japanese. You dumb fuck. There's no need to take them seriously. They're just making excuses. No, they're actually amazingly smart. Amazingly, they can see the writing on the wall that this is fucking stupid. You tried to save your war buddies with the money you've gathered. They are trying to take it all for themselves and escape. You're the one making excuses. In that case, why don't you just hand out the 100 million to your war buddies? Money given away for nothing is worth nothing. Naturally. And money taken for nothing means nothing at all. If you just hand out money, he'll disappear on pointless things like drinking women. Then that's their fucking fault. Then what's the point of giving someone good wages or whatever if they're just gonna blow it on fucking hookers and blow, right? That's the same fucking argument. You absolute fucking moron. Money has to be earned in exchange for labor. Damn, dude. It's really dumb. Why do people work and still waste money? If labor was so important to that money, then why do people waste money anyways after they work? Damn, it's like it doesn't matter. Sound labor for sound wages and a sound life. What if they waste on hookers and blow if they have a sound job? Well, then it doesn't matter. That was what we lost in that war, and that is what we should have taken back. If they have good money, they can actually pay for English lessons or whatever and then get jobs anyways. If they waste the money, then fuck it. Who cares? Caleb, these men won't understand no matter how much you tell them. Because this is dumb. We soldiers fight to protect the livelihood of our homeland. That's something worth enough for us to put our lives on the line on the battlefield to protect. And these people think it's worth less than a mere 100 million. These people aren't war buddies. You two. Do you have anything else to say? Huh. If you're gonna kill us, then do it. You dogs wagging your tails for the Americans after eating your City 23 countrymen alive. We'll be waiting for you in hell. Understood. Go there first and wait for us. Kill him. You know what? That's way better than, like, what you could have done. Like, you could have, like, drowned them, hung them up on the ceiling and just let them die. Like, hang them up upside down or whatever. Hang them by their arms, make them, like, just their arms literally just fall off eventually. You could really fuck with people. And that's easy. When Caleb turned to face the other way, the men all pointed out their guns. I'd rather be shot to death. Immediately, several gunshots rang out. Miguel walked up to the honeycombed pair of men and landed a shot on each of their foreheads. You should be grateful to Caleb. Since he had you shot to death, he must still have acknowledged you as war buddies. Listen up, men. It may be true that Japan surrendered. However, I don't remember us ever surrendering. You did. Oh, hey, isn't this the same thing where you're just like, oh, we're not the country. Blah, blah, blah. Our jobs, our mission as soldiers is exactly the same as it once was. Fight for your homeland, nothing more, nothing less. Yes, Father. And if anyone doubts that, puts their own self-interest first, I'll kill them. I won't let them die easy like those two. I'll make them hurt first. We don't forgive traitors. We don't forgive defeatists. At that moment, Caleb let out a heavy sigh, closed his eyes, and smiled bitterly. I'm a bit tired. Let's call it a day. You haven't gotten any rest lately, have you? You should have have a good break every once in a while. Yeah, I wonder why you're tired. It couldn't possibly be that you're, like, starting to realize, fuck, maybe he was right. Damn. No, it can't be that. And if it's not that, then he's actually stupid. Caleb left without saying another word. Wayne here. When the car with him and it left, Miguel turned to the men and spoke. You haven't heard of any other traitors, have you? There's no need for it to reach Caleb's ears. I'll take care of everything. Seems there's a lot of our underlings who feel the same way. People would think the father is trying to suck up to the Americans, or who would think he's trying to take the money and run. With the foundation of life in the city on the brink of destruction, it seems quite a few people are worried about their share. We'll probably see more people give up on Caleb and escape to the other cities. If Caleb succeeds in this deal with the occupying forces, our way of life will change. Yeah, but it won't be better than what it was. It was doing all right. We were doing kind of shit or whatever. And now we're doing really fucking shit. Now we really fucking suck. Everywhere that we were employed closed down because of all the fucking extra taxes from you guys. Great job. More poor people exist now. So more people you have to hire. It's just a terrible system. Even when that happens, everything will be roses. Not that rose, but other roses. Everyone's opinion will change too. Ugh. Okay. At that moment, Miguel's eyes and Wayne's eyes met. Miguel slowly walked towards Wayne. That mad smile he always wore was gone from his face. Has Wayne talked yet? He's a stubborn bastard. He refuses to say anything. I'm the same as Caleb. My body may have been captured, but my soul never surrendered. Even right now, like this, I'm still Rose's bodyguard, Primavera's bodyguard. Like I'd ever say a single word that might hurt Primavera. You might be a man worthy of respect. Which front were you on during the war? The Japanese front. I survived the blazing city of rubble during the Great Disaster. If you had been on the same battlefield, I'm sure I would have respected you. Wayne hesitated for a moment, because Miguel wasn't making some sarcastic or snide remark, but was speaking from his heart. Fuck him. We're soldiers. We went to protect our homeland. We went to the battlefield to die. Because we believed that there was something worth throwing away our lives to protect. The same feelings you hold for Madame Rose are what we felt when we fought for our homeland. That's why I want to make a confession to one as brave as you. I didn't start out being the same as you. At first, I was scared of dying. No one wants to die. You're different. You know that there's something you can protect even if you die. That's why you aren't afraid of death now. However, I was scared. In my life, if my life could be saved, I could have abandoned all my ideals and claimed goals. For a time, I was a cowardly defeatist like that.